Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is April 4th, 2023. Unfortunately, have to start off with a little bit of sad news from yesterday, and that is the passing of Bushwhacker Butch. One half of the Bushwhackers, and I remember hearing not too long ago that he wasn't in too good of health. He passed away yesterday at 78 years old, and I remember watching Bushwhackers as a kid in WWF. I was a fan at the time, the characters and licking the heads and everything, and I remember they were even on an episode of Family Matters, and they were gonna have a match with the Psycho Twins, and one of them accidentally drank Steve Urkel's snooze juice, and so Steve Urkel and Carl Winslow took the Psycho Twins' place to face the Bushwhackers, and it was going good. They were working well together until the Bushwhackers found out that Carl Winslow is a cop, and they hate cops because their mother was arrested by a cop last night. So they went off script, I guess you could say, and just destroyed poor Steve Urkel and Carl Winslow. Also, but before they were in WWE or WWF at the time, they were the sheep herders. I read more about that when I got older. Were known for more violent, brutal matches, pretty much the opposite of the Bushwhackers, which was more kind of like a comedy act. And in 2015, WWE inducted them into the Hall of Fame. Definitely, when I was a kid, one of my favorite tag teams at the time, with the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, and Steiner Brothers at the time. Hope nobody gets mad at me for saying that. I know at that time was more focused on characters rather than the in-ring action. And now I just want to say I apologize for last night. Did not do an episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic after Raw. I'm not going to talk about Raw right now on GMWF though, because I want to try to maybe do an episode sometime later today of Wrestling Fanatic and talk about last night's Raw after Mania. So right now, I'm going to talk about the huge news once again, and it has been confirmed to be official now that Endeavor is buying WWE and is going to merge it with UFC. It's going to be one company. Hasn't been named yet, but I understand. And WWE, and what I guess is WWE and UFC are going to be under the same umbrella as a part of this new company, whichever they decide to name it. And Vince McMahon will be running it. Don't follow UFC, but what I hear is Dana White was a similar deal when he sold UFC, as he sold the company, but he stayed on to run the day-to-day operations of it. And apparently that's what Vince McMahon is doing, and with his new black hair and mustache. And apparently won't get too much into Raw, like I said, but apparently he was in Gorilla for some of the show last night. But apparently they say that Triple H will be staying on as the chief content officer, which I would love to see Triple H stay and run creative. But last night, maybe it's just me, but I did notice a few little things that kinda looked like Vince could have had. Some say in the show last night, just the way the show went, it kind of seemed like he could have been involved. And WrestleMania weekend is a huge weekend and event, a busy time for the business anyway. And then the morning after, to have the news of WWE being sold has just made it way out of control. Also, just a little bit more on WrestleMania, the Shane McMahon injury, definitely a shame. I'm sure I know he's not listening, but want to send get well wishes to Shane McMahon. Was gonna have I know the match is gonna, I'm sure, be kept short anyway. With The Miz, unfortunately, tore his quad, but Snoop Dogg did very well. Him and The Miz just called it right in the ring, like they used to back in the day. And because I was gonna say, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I thought it was just a work to get some attention on Snoop Dogg, but I was thinking though, it doesn't make sense. Okay, this is supposed to be Shane and The Miz. Okay, you could have where he gets hurt and then Snoop Dogg does get involved, but the way they did last night, or Sunday night, was Snoop Dogg went for the cover of pinned him, but the match was Shane and The Miz. But now, knowing that this was a real injury to Shane McMahon, unfortunately, know why they did it that way. Just on the fly, like they say. But very good. Definitely have to give credit to Snoop Dogg and The Miz. And so overall, I said this already before, I thought it was a great weekend. I thought night one was just maybe a little better than night two. It was a great weekend, not just for WWE, but all pro wrestling, I thought, except for one little thing. But I thought Thursday got started with some great shows. And Speedball Mike Bailey having 5 matches, I think it was, or was it more than 5? Actually, it could be more. But awesome performer, Speedball Mike Bailey is. And then Ring of Honor had some really good matches on that show. Unfortunately, Dante Martin getting injured. I haven't heard no word yet on how much time he's going to miss, but I don't think he's listening either. But want to get well wishes to Dante Martin. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and Top Fight will do well in the AEW Tag Team division. And that's all for this Tuesday morning episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Again, I'm sorry I didn't do 360 Wrestling Fanatic last night. Hope to talk about Raw on another episode, maybe sometime today. Not sure just yet. And thank you for listening to not just this episode, but all the podcasts from this last pro wrestling week. And hope everyone has a great Tuesday today. Hope everyone enjoys NXT tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for the Wednesday episode of GMWF. Until then, keep watching pro wrestling.